Investigators tell us this is where the posters were found, on these doors right off of the parking lot.
I am standing on top of the roof that used to be on top of the apartment building across the street, Crestview Apartments.
What do you have to say to Ashley Young's family?
I turned him in.
You turned him in? What does that mean?
No comment.
Why are you being charged then?
We are told by police that there are multiple suspects that they're looking for. They think that they're in this home that's just down the block from us. That's why there's this large police presence. That's why police are keeping us back, because this is still an active search.
I'm on my way there right now.
You're going there now. Okay, we'll follow you. Since we've been here, we've seen the water rise about a foot. And if you take a look over to my right, this is actually Payne Creek. It's a very narrow creek, but right now it has spread out into these yards. Sources tell me, and family confirms, that Antonio Wiggers, also known as Tone, was found inside a hotel room. The plane crashed right in this area. And take a look, what you can see there, the high school football field. A few steps just north of there is the water tower that stopped that plane. I want to take you down to the location where the family believes she was picked up from, 135th Street. It's the road that their home's located off of. But if you look behind me, you can see why this is a perfect location. There's homes all around here, but they're blocked. What the couple told me creates another twist in this case. It started as a missing persons case, and now there's mutilation, an alleged cover-up, and an ex-cop involved.
Our camera was rolling as the couple bonded out of the Kent County Jail. Did you help cover up a murder?
No comment.
Why didn't you call the police? You are a police officer. Why didn't you call them?
They did call him.
What do you have to say to Ashley Young's family?
I turned him in.
You turned him in? What does that mean?
No comment.
Why are you being charged then? Why are you being charged if you turned him in? Target 8 asked the prosecutor's office about the claim. Kent County prosecutor Chris Becker says Chance's statements are, quote, not quite right, but couldn't get into any other facts of the case, adding that it will all come out eventually. Days ago, the neighbor living below Jared Chance told Target 8 they called police after noticing an unusual smell coming from the basement of the home on Franklin. When they went to check it out, they found a tarp leaking blood and called 911. We were on scene that night. Court documents say that the day before her body was discovered, Jared Chance told his parents that Young was dead and that he cut her body into pieces, hiding some of them. The documents say despite being at the Grand Rapids Police Department the next day, they made no effort to tell authorities. And tonight, the couple was escorted away in an SUV with Illinois plates, the same state where James Chance was a police officer for almost 25 years up until 1989. The judge did put a condition on their bond. The couple must turn in their passports within 24 hours.
Wow, great work tonight. We know Jared Chance has a...
This is where the house used to sit, but it's now 70 feet back. This is not an easy or inexpensive process. It's quite costly, but for these homeowners, it's their best option. The move alone took about a month and a half. The utilities had to be removed, the home cut off of its foundation, then hoisted up and put on wheels before being pulled back. On the upside, this move didn't require much packing.
And just lift it straight up in the air, so.
So it's just sitting on the cribbing and these steel beams?
Yep.
What's the weight of this house?
I don't know, a lot.
Greg Windemuller is a general contractor on the project. He orchestrated this big move happening in Port Sheldon Township near Holland.
To rebuild the house back further was going to cost a lot more, so they decided that it was going to be better for them to move it back.
Total cost for the move will be around $300,000 or more. But the family lives here year-round, and the home has been with them for 3 generations. The foundation was still stable, but the homeowners didn't want to wait until it was too late. They made the decision to move in April, avoiding a gamble with Mother Nature.
That lake, the water is just so powerful. You can't control water. It's one of the most powerful things out there.
Contractors say it'll still be a few months before the family can get moved back in. They're hoping the family can celebrate Christmas here. Reporting in Ottawa County, Heather Walker, News 8.
Girls dream about their wedding day, planning every detail, from the diamond ring to the perfect dress. Her I do was different.
We went to the courthouse. It took 5 minutes. I think we kissed or something, and that was it.
Secrets.
Crazy thing that it can still keep going on.
Take time to come to light.
It sets a person up to be taken advantage of.
It took months of gathering information.
That would be considered a secret marriage.
Interviews.
Having child brides
that bothers me.
The courthouse.
And first-hand accounts.
So I was like, I'm too young. I'm not ready for this.
All right, thank you for your help.
We learn these secret marriages happen quickly.
It took 5 minutes. Was just done, and we went back to my house, had cake, and left.
Our team traveled to Florida to talk to a child bride we'll call Anne. She wants to hide her identity for her family's protection. We are also not naming her husband. However, she is sharing photos from her teens to give us a look at the life of a child bride. Back in 1994, she was living in Vestaburg, a small Montcalm County town, when she met the young man she would marry.
I was smitten as soon as I saw him.
She was 13. It started out innocent, but about a year later, when her boyfriend turned 18, her dad, unhappy with the relationship, was threatening jail.
My dad had looked it up, and he had figured out that it would be statutory rape because I was so young.
Anne says her boyfriend was suicidal.
Why did you get married at 14?
I don't know. Because they wanted me to, I guess. I loved him. I didn't want him to die. My mom wanted me to get married.
You felt pressured?
Yeah, a lot.
Did you want to get married?
Not the day before, that's for sure.
She says her boyfriend stayed up all night, convincing her to marry him the next day. Dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, she went to the courthouse and said, "I do." No ring, no flowers, no questions asked.
No one said, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
No, not at all. Unfortunately not. They should have.
The only requirement, a parent's signature.
Just one parent had to sign.
Yeah, and they actually gave us the paper and had us take it home to sign like it was a permission slip, to go on a field trip. That's it.
Under Michigan law, you have to be 18 to consent to marriage. 16 to 17, you need parental consent. Under 16, a parent's and judge's approval.
So if a judge says yes, you can potentially get married at any age. There's no limit.
Correct.
Child marriages like Anne's happen every year. In 2000, there were 537 in Michigan. The most recent numbers available from 2014 show 116 child marriages. The majority, 84%, were girls marrying adult men.
To look up marriage license.
Yeah, how long ago do you know?
When we first tried to pull the records for Anne's marriage, we found out how the secret is so well kept.
Was she 18?
No. Oh, that might be why. She was 14.
That would be considered a secret marriage, and I don't think that those are public.
It's called a secret marriage? The records are sealed. The state hides their identities. Even with Anne and her husband's names, we couldn't get a copy of their marriage license. Only the husband and wife can unseal the record in person. At 14, Anne was locked into a marriage, pulled out of school, and stuck at home with what she calls wifely duties.
I didn't know how to cook, and he wanted me to be a certain way that I couldn't be.
You were supposed to be this perfect housewife at 14.
Yeah, and I didn't know how to be.
And you were punished for that?
Oh yeah. He was very particular. His socks had to be folded a certain way. Everything had to be done just so. If he was mad and I bumped him, he might punch me or something.
Anne says the marriage was bad from the beginning.
Did he ever threaten to kill you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Miles away from family and friends, she says sometimes she would run to a neighbor's home to hide for the night until her husband calmed down in the morning. She was too young to drive or have a job.
You need the money, you need the help, you need everything. And you really appreciate everything you get.
It took a Freedom of Information request to discover some teen girls marrying men 3 times their age, including a marriage between a 15-year-old girl and a 48-year-old man.
So why is it called a secret marriage?
Well, this was designed for situations where a woman, a child, had gotten pregnant and they wanted to legitimize the child.
Milton Mack is now a state court administrator, but he once presided over these secret marriages as a probate judge.
Judges do see these cases where they come in and the marriage is basically to absolve the older male of any criminal responsibility.
It's a legal loophole.
It is.
And that I could get married under the age that I could even consent to sex. That blows my mind.
The law dates back to 1897, but it's still being used today in cases where brides like Anne are not pregnant. The law establishing the minimum age for marriage dates back even further to 1887.
Whatever purpose that once had has long expired. It's time to go.
Science supports that. The part of your brain responsible for decision making does not fully develop until your 20s.
Since the young person's emotional area is developed but not their logical thinking, lots of times they can be swayed by other people. They can give in to what other people want of them, especially if somebody's older, more mature.
I want the law to change. It doesn't do anybody any good.
And what about the argument, religious reasons, purity?
Well, marriage involves sex, so you're not making them any more pure by getting married.
Anne is still married to the same man. She says he's matured and now agrees they should not have married so young. But she still deals with fear and sadness daily.
Because who knows what I could have done with life? I mean, having to stay up all night cleaning.
She's finally working on a college degree, setting an example for her daughters, the girls that inspired her to try and change this law.
Then my daughter turned 14, and I could look at her and go, wow, that's not the life I would want for my daughter. She's a kid. She should be playing and doing whatever she wants to do.
Believe it or not, 48 other states allow child marriages. Delaware became the first state to ban it just 4 months ago.